Kevin O'Leary is worth over $400 million. However, it was his mom that gave him 4 rules for investing that helped him to build and grow his wealth. But do these rules actually work today in this economy? I'm going to give you my thoughts on each of these rules, which ones work for this economy and which ones actually don't. Let's go ahead and break it down. My name is Kevin. I'm a financial planner to help you build confidence, clarity, and momentum, well, in this economy. And I'm going to take each of those tips, break them down, tell you where they work, and perhaps where they might not. The first rule was this: invest between 20 and 30% of your income. I mean, yeah, this would work. The problem is, do you make enough money where you can invest that and still live at all? I was going to say a normal life, but just at all. At the rate, especially in 2026, where, you know, the cost of gas, the cost of food, the cost of kids, the cost of air, the cost of everything is as high as it is. We normally don't have 20 or 30% to invest. Now, I am someone who has, I have admittedly said, 15% is the bar that I want most people at. And if you can do more, we're talking an extra 5%. So, I am throwing stones inside my own glass house, if you will, if that's what you want to do. Now, yes, that rule can work, and I'm all for. I want you to invest as much as you can, especially as much as you comfortably can. Now, one way that you can sort of get around this is if you have a 401k match, that money does count. So if you do 10% and they do 5%, that's 15. All right. Now, I don't know anybody who does a 10% match, but if you do 10, they do 10, you're at 20. But in either case, yes, this does work. The question about does it work in this economy is depends on how much you make. Right? If you only need $50,000 to live on and that's your bills and you make $100,000, it's really easy for you to say 20%. But if you only make $50,000 and the bills are $50,000, it ain't a whole bunch left over. So that is a very, very high bar. It's not a normal bar, but yes, on paper, it does work. The question is it realistic in the world that we live in for people who have a regular salary? Next here is focus on dividend stocks. Now, this one, I have a little bit of a beef with when it comes to dividend stocks. And here's why. Dividend stocks are fine. If you want to focus on dividend stocks, by all means. We have done videos about dividend stocks. I've also done videos on what I call the dividend trap. The dividend trap is where people just focus on, it's paying a 5% dividend, a 4% dividend, but the stock is also down 20 or 30% at the same time. You are losing money while getting a little $4 or $5 here or there. Dividend stocks can be fine, but not more important than the stock to me, not more important than the stock actually making you money. That is the thing. So do not fall in the dividend trap. Also, there are people, and I've seen them in the comments. I think someone said this to me on one of these platforms. It might have been Instagram or something the other day. Don't buy a stock if it doesn't pay any dividends at all. I mean, Nvidia the last, 4 or 5 years has been one of the absolute best stocks out there. And at one point, and it may still be at the time you're watching this video, the most valuable stock, one of the most valuable stocks on the face of the earth. And it pays a very, very small dividend, if at all. I mean, Meta has also been pretty good. Another incredibly valuable company, had been performing quite well up until very recently, pays little of no dividends. I mean, there are very, very good tech stocks that are known for paying almost nothing in dividends. We can't just ignore that. We cannot and should not ignore that. Now, back in the day, dividends meant way more than what they do now. My thing is, find that medium where they pay dividends and they also return well for investors. There can be a space, but it having to have dividends is not a requirement for me. I don't think for most investors, they don't have to be a requirement to you. Okay, they don't have to be. I don't think they should. So go back and check those dividend videos. I bring it up every single time that we talk about dividends. I don't think this rule needs to be a rule. It can be a suggestion, but definitely not a rule here. The next one is never spend the principal. Now, in this case, we're talking about you build up your investments and then you withdraw money, and you want to keep the principal. Now, interestingly enough, in the last Dave Ramsey video that I did, this was something that I talked about. Now, I think that video, I know people were fussing at me on Facebook on that, but this is what I talked about in terms of not spending the principal. So let's say that you have $1 million, right? That is the principal that you have saved over your life or whatever. The stock market makes 7% after inflation, all right? So let's just say you got $70,000. The goal is you just spend the $70,000 every single year. We know the stock market's not going to give you the exact $70,000 every single year. We know that. All right. What you don't want to do, which is something Dave Ramsey was suggesting, what you don't want to do is spend $80,000 or 8%, because then the 1 million gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And what happens is 7% on 900,000, 7% on 800,000 or whatever it's going to be gets smaller. And that means you get paid less and less and less, and you run out of money a lot faster. That's the issue. That's the issue I was trying to say. I would agree. Now, I don't like using the word never. Okay, I don't like using the word never a lot of times in finance, because I never expected a pandemic, right? So there are a lot of things in that, in that vein. So I don't like using the word never. In either case, though, I do kind of agree. I don't prefer to spend down my principal, or don't like touching it, because I want the money to last as long as possible. And if I built it up enough, using the principal will almost guarantee that I'm not going to run out of money. The key is, will the interest be large enough for me to just live off of that? That's the key. That is the key. Because will there be a point where $70,000 can pay for all my bills now and in retirement? Depends. That depends a lot. Will the market give me that 7%? Will my bills be under $70,000? All those types of things, right? So those are the things that you want to pay attention to. But I would check that off. So right now, we are 2 out of 3. All right. Of the 3 so far, I agree with the 20-30% of your income. Is it realistic? No. Okay. For most people. 2, focus on dividends. It says actually dividend stocks and bonds. Most bonds do pay dividends. Focus on dividend stocks. I'm not high on that one. So that's a no for me. And then never spend the principal. I gotta scratch the word never, but I'm gonna more or less agree with that one. All right, number 4 is no more than 5% in one single stock. That sounds familiar. And then no more than 20% in any single sector. I'm gonna repeat that. No more than 5% in any single stock, and no more than 20% of your money in any single sector. That show is funny. I've been about this for a very long time. Let's say you got $100, no more than 5 goes into one single stock. And there is a reason for that. If you are wrong about something, you're wrong about a stock, that is to protect you. It does not drag down the entire portfolio. There are so many people who have been invested in crypto who put 20, 30, 40% of their money in it, have been wrong, and it doesn't work out that way, right? It doesn't help you out. Now, when you're right, you look great. You like a genius. But you can also be right with 5%, and it helps you along. That is something that happens. Then there's 20% in any single sector. Now, this is a bit more difficult for a lot of people to measure, but I kind of do agree with that, because you don't want half of your portfolio. You're not supposed to want that in some instances. You don't want 20% of your portfolio in tech, because if we run into a tech recession, then that's your portfolio just gone. Now, this does get a bit more complex. I'm not going to get too deep into it here. I think we've covered it on the channel. I want to talk a little bit about index funds, but right now, I think it's a Magnificent 7 or so, if you want to count Tesla in that, Broadcom, Nvidia, Meta, Microsoft, Google, and Nvidia. I don't think I said Nvidia. If I didn't, correct me in the comments, please. But of those 7, right, that represents about 38% of the entire value of the S&P 500. Okay, we talking close to 40%. If you own the S&P 500, which most of us do through index funds, you already have violated that rule in one way or another. So while I agree with it in principle, it's hard for a lot of us to understand and wrap our minds around it. Now, if you are someone who's really concerned about that, I've talked about equally weighted funds, where the fund says, hey, it is 500 companies, each of y'all get 1/500th of whatever however much money you put in there. It doesn't make as much as what the S&P 500 is going to make, because obviously Nvidia, Meta, all of those have taken up so much air and returns in the room. So there are some pros and cons. You can check out that video. I'll try and link it here. But in either case, I do absolutely agree with that particular rule. If you want to learn more about money, personal finance, and everything in between, you want to check out these videos right here.